Wonka is a prequel origin movie starring Timothy Chalamet as a young Willy Wonka, basically showing the story of how he became the chocolatier that we know him for. He arrives in Europe, he kind of gets conned by these people who run this sort of laundromat hotel kind of place. You know, he's kind of stuck there. He forms this bond with this young girl named Noodle. And the movie is basically him making all these different chocolate inventions, chocolate treats for the world to try, while the competitors out there who run their own chocolate businesses are doing everything they can to stop him. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a classic. I love that movie. It's impossible not to. It's charming, it's fun, it's unique. Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, unreal, just awesome. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I mean, it had its enjoyment. I wasn't really in love with it. It was more weird than anything. I mean, Johnny Depp, I love Johnny Depp, but him as Willy Wonka, not for me. However, I was very interested in seeing a new sort of Willy Wonka movie because this one doesn't really, as far as I know anyway, stem from any books that are based on Willy Wonka. This is kind of just an original story that is based off of source material. I was interested to see the story of how he became what he's known for, what he is today. I was interested to see how Timothy Chalamet would attack this role. And what we got here is something to expect from the director of the first two Paddingtons. It's a very charming, nice, just very enjoyable family movie. Right out the gate, I'll say right now, Timothy Chalamet, he's great in this role. What I like about him is he does feel a little bit like what a younger Gene Wilder would kind of feel like, but he does put his own little flair on it. Like, he's brilliant in the ways of chocolate. You don't really know how he's able to do it, but he does. You see the magician in him. He's very upbeat, charismatic. He's also kind of naive. He's kind of just a little too trusting to people when he shouldn't be. Like, the story behind him is, he's someone who, was just raised by his single mother, and when he lost her, he was kind of just left to fend for the world a little bit. So you feel a little bit like he's, I don't know, underdeveloped in some ways. But you see the passion, you see the drive, you see the, very exuberant charm that he does have. Like, I walk out of this movie thinking, I think Timothy Chalamet was the perfect one to play a young Willy Wonka. I also really liked the chemistry that he had with the young girl Noodle. They're trying to help each other out, the teamwork they kind of, display with each other. But also in her case, she's trying to create a better life. He's trying to make a better life for himself through chocolate. And together, they kind of see certain ways of how to help one another. And between the two of them and the people that they are forced to work with in this sort of laundromat, you feel like a family bond is forming there, which is important for these characters. I mean, in her case, she's kind of longing for the family that she never really got to know. And in his case, he's sort of longing for that joy and love from creating chocolate that he remembers from his mom. Also, I think the fantasy element in this movie does work, which is important for a Willy Wonka movie. I mean, you see what the chocolates are capable of doing to people, the setting that he's able to create with the candies that he can make. Like, again, that's where you feel the magic in this movie. That's where you feel the genius that is Willy Wonka and what he's able to make and what he's able to manufacture through chocolate. The movie doesn't lose sight of sending you into a world of pure imagination, which this movie absolutely does. Also, another character I almost forgot to talk about, but Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, he actually fit the role very well. I mean, he's funny, he's sarcastic. I like the banter he kind of has with Willy Wonka. It's not like, they meet and are immediately friends. There's just kind of some sort of big grudging dynamic going on between the two of them. Getting to some of the give and take of this movie though, this is what I will say. Is this movie a family movie? Absolutely. But in that sense, there are definitely some elements in this movie that I think are more suitable for kids than they are for adults. For example, some of the humor in this movie, some of it's actually pretty funny, some of it is a lot more cartoonish. There were definitely some jokes that were aimed to make people laugh, but didn't really work for me. There are some characters in this movie that are just straight up cartoonish. Even the songs in this movie, some of the songs that are in this movie, because this movie's a straight up musical, I'll say that much right now, much like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Some of the songs in this movie are really good, very catchy. Others are just kind of silly and are meant for laughs. And that's what I'm going to say right now. I do think there are elements in this movie that I think kids will find really funny, songs they'll find really catchy, and adults, it's not going to hit them as well. And that's, I think, the issue with a family movie. It's you want a movie that the whole family can enjoy, and I do believe this is one that the whole family can enjoy. The question is, will everyone in the family enjoy it the same way? More often than not, that's not typically the case. But I'll say this much, in a family movie, you have to have heart, and this movie has a lot of heart, especially towards the end of the movie. When the movie wants to be emotional, it is definitely emotional. When it really wants to show its heart, it does that. I think especially the dynamic between Willy Wonka and when he talks about his mom, I think that's gonna hit a lot of people in the feels. It's a nice movie that leaves you walking away with a very nice feeling. You're like, you know what? I'm glad I experienced that. Like if I had kids, I think I was telling my girlfriend this, if we had kids, I think this would be the perfect movie for us all to experience as a family. So that's what I'll say right now. If you're a family and you're looking for a good movie to see before Christmas time, this is the movie to do it for. So all in all, Wonka, it's a charming, sweet, endearing movie. Timothée Chalamet is very, very good as a young Willy Wonka. I thought he was charismatic. He brought the charm. He brought the wit. He brought some heart. Love the dynamic between him and a bunch of different characters, namely between Noodle and Hugh Grant's version of Oompa Loompa. I loved seeing the world of chocolate that he's able to create. It's gonna bring back some nostalgia, that's for sure. The movie's funny, although sometimes a little too cartoonish. It's got a lot of musical numbers. Some are good, some maybe not as much, depending on who you are. But in the end, I think a great movie to compare this movie to would be Oz the Great and Powerful. Both are meant to be prequels to movie classics, and I think you walk away from both saying that maybe wasn't necessary, but I enjoyed it for what it was, which is a solid original origin story based on an iconic movie character. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.